was exciting. It was the 90s. Mama didn't understand it, and Daddy always said that I was going too far. Said there's never any compromising if you try to win the battle to be who you are. I danced to the left, I danced to the right, hold hands with my demons and creatures of night, on an undercover mission to find somebody else like me. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Someone who can hear me and drink from the light, to see things from the same side. Is there anybody out there? 5 years later, I'm back with the same old faces and dead end places. Things kept going wrong. I'm getting to thinking my daddy was right all along. So if you take a little walk on the wild side, be careful that you never slip your hands from the wheel. There's never any compromising when you're blinded by reflections from the part of you that's real. I dance to the left, I dance to the right, hold hands with my demons and creatures of night, on an undercover mission to find somebody else like me. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Someone who can hear me and drink from the light, to see things from the same side. Is there anybody out there?
You know, one of these weeks, you're going to tune into this stream and you're going to be sitting in the lobby and it's going to say, waiting for Solomonster sounds off. And there's going to be no Solomonster. And you're going to be sitting here for an hour going, what happened to him? I hope he's okay. I hope he didn't suffer some sort of medical emergency. And what will happen is I'll come on here probably 90 minutes late and have to apologize for dozing off during the show. It's going to happen one of these weeks. But tonight is not that night. You know why? Because I'm actually pretty amped up right now. I'm all amped up. And it has absolutely nothing to do with SmackDown. It has nothing to do with the show that you saw tonight on USA Network or Netflix, I guess, depending on where you are. It actually has everything to do with the movie I saw before SmackDown, which coincidentally was much better than SmackDown was tonight. I went to go see Obsession. Now, I didn't even know about this movie up until about a week ago. I didn't even know it existed. And I saw a lot of people talking about it online, a lot of real, excitement around this movie. I didn't even watch a full trailer. I had a very, very vague understanding of what it was. I knew it was a horror movie. I said, that's good enough for me. Let's go see Obsession. And you know what? I'm glad I did. No spoilers here, but I will say it is the best movie I have seen in the theater so far this year. It is. It's the best movie I've seen all year. Very much enjoyed it. I will say it's a fucked up movie. It is. It will fuck with your head. I can't say it was necessarily what I was expecting, but again, I went into it pretty cold. Because I just feel like these days they give away too much in the trailers anyway. So I try to avoid all that as much as possible. But if you are thinking about it, or if you are a fan of that genre, I would highly, highly encourage you to go see it. It just came out, well, technically yesterday, but it just came out tonight. I hope it does well. It's funny, we have this movie called Passenger that's coming out next week, another horror movie. And then 2 weeks from tonight, The Backrooms, which I'm very excited about because I followed all of the Kane Pixels videos on YouTube years ago, and now Kane is directing a full-fledged Backrooms movie with the backing of A24, major movie studio. And that's coming out in 2 weeks. So this is a hell of a month, I will say, for the horror genre. Speaking of horror, Smackdown. I guess we have to talk about this show. Not good. Not good. Very boring, but not without its moments. So, for example, we had a main event tonight that pit Gunther against Royce Keys, and I thought the two of them went out there and had a solid-ass main event. Just like Stone Cold has two solid-ass cats on the Broken Skull Ranch, we got a solid-ass main event tonight. First time that Royce Keys has been in the SmackDown main event since he debuted on the main roster. And when the match was over, we found out that Gunther is going to Italy because this was to find out who would be challenging Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship at the end of the month at Clash in Italy. Because Gunther has been playing games over the last couple of weeks. He had a contract to sign with his name on it. He kept playing games. As Nick Aldis said, he overplayed his hand. And so now he was forced to fight somebody else for the right to become #1 contender for the title. So he had to go through Royce Keys. And he did. And so now we know one of the main events for Clash in Italy that is now official. But I have to ask you all a question. And I admit that in the grand scheme of things, considering all the problems that this show has, this is a minor issue. But it still bugs me. And I heard Joe Tessitore say this when the show was over. Cody Rhodes was the last one standing. He came out, he gave Gunther a crossroads. And so Cody was the parting shot on SmackDown tonight. And I have to listen to Joe Tessitore, as the announcers every week say, the undisputed WWE champion. Cody Rhodes is the undisputed champion. Now, let me ask you a question. At a time when we have 2 world championships on the men's side, and at a time where Roman Reigns is the world heavyweight champion and arguably is the #1 champion in the company now, it certainly has felt that way since WrestleMania. And it will likely be that way going into Clash in Italy, where he's going to be wrestling Jacob Fatu, I'm sure. So how is it that we are still calling Cody Rhodes the undisputed WWE champion? What exactly makes him an undisputed champion? See, I don't think that they care enough to realize that they have continued to call this man undisputed long after it made sense to do so, long after he beat Roman Reigns, right, who had those 2 titles. And so, sure, the man who beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania is the undisputed champion. But we have a world heavyweight champion on Monday who happens to be the biggest star in the company outside of Cody. And we have the WWE champion on Friday. And why are we still calling him the undisputed champion? It's so stupid. Just stop. There's nothing undisputed about it. It's very much disputed now. We actually have somebody on Raw who arguably is the top champion in the company. Just bugs me. I don't know why we're still calling him undisputed. Carmelo Hayes is back. This was another bright spot on the show. We haven't seen him since before WrestleMania. He was back on the show tonight wrestling Ricky Saints. And they also had what I thought was a solid match, so that was good. And we had Trick Williams. He had a nice homecoming for himself here in the opening segment of the show. The rest of these 3 hours were some of the most boring television that I have had to sit through this entire year. And this show continues to limp along. It's going to limp right into the summer, the way that it has, with no end in sight. The best we can hope for is an hour less of this at some point next month, because we still don't know the exact week that SmackDown is reverting back to 2 hours. Last year, it happened on the 4th of July. I've read reports that suggest it might happen sooner than that. We probably have another month at least of this. It can't come soon enough. And that's not going to make the show better, but at least it's an hour less that we are subjected to every single week. Because the shows don't get any better. You find those bright spots, right? Royce Keys in the main event, good for him. Hopefully we get to see a more sustained push for him. Ricky Saints, still not getting much of a reaction when he comes out, but he's still new to the roster. He's out there wrestling Carmelo Hayes. Those are the types of matches I'd like to see more of here on these shows. But again, outside of that stuff, what else is going on right now on this show that you can honestly tell me is exciting to you, is compelling to you, is keeping you tuned in every week where it's like, man, I can't wait to see this guy, or I can't wait to see this story play out, or I can't wait to see this group. I can't wait to see the MFTs next week. I can't wait to see Jade and the baddies next week. Like, what is it about this show? Honestly, truthfully, outside of like those one or two things that I mentioned, that truly keeps you coming back for more. There's nothing. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. I'm convinced that The Rock couldn't get Cody's soul, so he stole SmackDown's. Because this show has no soul. It's just limping along. That is the state of SmackDown. And so it continues. This is your Friday Night SmackDown review. It is May 15th. We're already midway through 2026. I am the Solomonster. Hey, James, you better be referring to me. He says Solo is awesome. Because if I find out you're talking about Solo Sikoa, I'm going to kick you out. There ain't nothing about Solo Sikoa at the moment or anything he's doing on the show that is awesome. Solo's a very funny guy. There is potentially awesome stuff that could be done with him, but I'm not seeing any of it on the television show. So I hope you're referring to me. Oh, man. Talking about SmackDown is it's almost as bad as watching SmackDown, but I try to make it entertaining for you guys, so we'll try to do the same tonight. Do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We are going to spin the wheel here in a moment to find out how many likes we need to do our Be the Booker segment, and Super Chats are open as well. Already had a bunch of them that have come in, and so as more filter on in, you'll see them popping up on your screen, and I will be reading them a little bit later on here in the stream. But we got a wheel to spin. I think me spinning this wheel might be more exciting than most of what happened on SmackDown tonight. Probably a good 75% of the show, I would wager. Yeah, we'll spin some more. I'll try to make it worth your while. This might be the most exciting moment of the night for you. $400. So that is the goal. We are currently sitting at 256. So we're well past the halfway point. All right, so get to it. Hit that like button. If we pass 400, we will do Be the Booker a little bit later on. Let's get into this SmackDown show because it kicked off, and it actually was not a bad opening because it kicked off with the homecoming for the United States champion Trick Williams. Trick Williams beat Sami Zayn at Backlash last weekend. He is still the United States champion, and so he has roots here in South Carolina. He came out along with Lil Yachty, got a big reaction, and the University of South Carolina Gamecocks mascot. I guess that's a gamecock, I guess is that what the mascot was? The mascot was a cock. So the cock came out with Lil Yachty and Trick Williams. And Williams said he was proud to represent W.J. Keenan High School and the University of South Carolina growing up. He put over his favorite chicken and waffles restaurant. Do you realize I did not have chicken and waffles, I want to say, until 2016. It was actually at a Sound Off meetup that we did at the KBH Beer Hall, not too far from the Barclays Center. And it might have been before SummerSlam. I don't remember what event it was tied into, but we did a big meetup and they were actually serving chicken and waffles at KBH. And I'm like, I'm going to try this. Oh, I didn't realize what I had been missing out on. Now, the problem is, of course, if I did chicken and waffles all the time, I'd be 500 pounds. I'd have to expand the window here. I would be so big, I wouldn't be able to fit in this little window on screen. But, man, it was very good. So anyway, it took me a while. What can I say? 2016, first time. I mean, I had chicken and I had waffles. I never thought to combine the two. The thought never occurred to me. So he put over his favorite place. He pointed at his parents in the front row. Miz and Kit Wilson interrupted the celebration. And he was mocking the mascot. He was mocking all the gingerbread stuff from the week before. He said, "This is WWE, not Sesame Street." And Kit Wilson joined in with some slam poetry. And he read a poem about how Trick wouldn't last a day on the streets where he came from. Lil Yachty said, can I try? So he fired back with some poetry of his own. He mentioned Miz's tiny balls in there somewhere. I can't believe this is still a thing, but apparently the tiny balls thing has lived on. So Miz got upset. He called for a referee. And he said he was going to whoop that Trick in front of his mama. So Trick cleared the ring of all the heels. And look, this was cool because he came out there. He got a hero's welcome, right? Coming back home. And especially when they panned out, they showed a shot of the crowd. Everybody is just going crazy for this guy. So it made him look like a superstar. Now, Trick comes out there every week and looks like a superstar. You get the superstar entrance, but more so than usual. He came off as a big deal here in this opening segment. But after a break, we had Trick Williams against The Miz. Late in the match, Miz hit the skull-crushing finale. Trick kicked out. So Miz went to go grab a kendo stick. Lil Yachty stole it away from him. Yachty blasted Kit Wilson with it instead. And in the ring, Williams finished off Miz with the trick shot knee for the win. A very basic match, but the crowd didn't care. They were hot for Trick Williams. They were there to see Trick. They got what they wanted. So there you go. That's why there were more people than usual here into this Miz match. It was because of Trick Williams. Now backstage, I see Carmelo Hayes, and I am amazed because I had forgotten that he was even part of the show. But I was pleasantly surprised to see him back here. He wasn't mentioned in the preview. They don't give you a whole lot in the previews anymore like they used to. But there he is, and he was being interviewed about his match against Ricky Saints later tonight. I should say it may have been added to the preview very, very late, but when I put the preview together for this stream, we had 3 things announced, and Carmelo Hayes was not one of them. But he was talking about how he wants his United States Championship back. So Ricky Saints interrupts. And he says it's a new world since Hayes went on vacation. Mello says he sees Ricky for what he is. This place has a way of humbling people like you and me. Ricky doesn't need advice from him, though. And as Ricky walked off, Hayes said that it was like looking into a dirty mirror. I don't know what was going on here. Mello was like speed talking through this promo. It was as if there was a countdown clock off camera that we couldn't see that was like counting him down. He was trying to get all of his shit in before time expired. I don't know why he was speeding through this. I don't know what was going on with that. That was a little weird. Elsewhere, Nick Aldis had a pleasant little chat with Ray Phoenix, talking about him doing big things in AAA. Yeah, may as well. They're not doing big things with him here on SmackDown. You know, Nick is so pleasantly surprised. You would think as the general manager of this show, he would do more with Ray Phoenix on SmackDown, but evidently he doesn't see fit to do so. So after he left, Sami Zayn entered the picture. And he said he needed to do things the right way. And basically all this was like, well, if you want a U.S. title match, you're going to have to earn it. Sami was not very happy about this. But as Aldis pointed out, he had already had his rematch. This is the way it has to be. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? He's right. You just had back-to-back championship matches and you fucking lost. You go to the back of the line. That's it. It's over. Feud's done. Sami apparently wanted preferential treatment. So Aldis says, look, you're clearly dealing with stuff. So here's my advice. Why don't you go and deal with that and then you can come back? Because right now I'm getting this sense of entitlement from you. And Sami is pitching a fit. Ray Phoenix comes back in trying to calm him down. And Phoenix says, I don't even recognize you anymore. Paige and Brie Bella, the women's tag team champions, were being interviewed in the back about their upcoming match when Nia Jax and Lash Legend walked up to them, said that they were going to take the tag team titles back. And at that moment, we hear Brie mode in the arena. Brie mode was activated, and Brie Bella said, we got some business to go tend to, and the champions headed out to the ring because it was Paige and Brie Bella taking on Julia and Kiana James in what was a non-title match. Brie, late in the match, went into Brie mode. You know, she stands there, Brie mode, and she screams, and everyone's like, yay. And then she hit the Bryan Danielson kicks, or the Daniel Bryan kicks, which Wade Barrett on commentary said must have come after she saw The Miz earlier in the show. Good call there, Wade. Nice try. So we got a Bella Buster on James. Julia tagged in, and she hit Brie with a lung blower, then a Northern Lights bomb. Paige broke up the pin. Kiana then accidentally sent a charging Paige into Julia, and the two of them had a very ugly spill out of the ring that ended with Julia coming straight down on top of her head on the floor outside. Meanwhile, Paige finished things off with a Rampage DDT to Kiana in the ring. Not great. This was not great. Paige is still finding her footing in the ring because she hadn't wrestled in quite some time until recently. And Brie Bella, I mean, Brie is just there playing the hits, and she didn't have a whole lot of them to begin with. So this is kind of where we are right now. But the slow-moving split continues between Julia and Kiana James. They were shown in the back after this. They were arguing. You would have to imagine. I mean, they don't have to do anything, but I would like to think that if they were going to do something with Julia, whether it was the actual split with Kiana or a match of some kind. I can't even imagine, though, as I sit here right now, what kind of match would Julia even have on that show? Because you know we're going to get 5 matches. Where the hell? She doesn't fit into any of this. Now, where is SmackDown on the Friday before? Now, I know the Raw after is in Turin. Is the SmackDown before Clash in Italy? Because if it is, then that's probably where they get her on the show. But right now, I just can't imagine her being on the actual PLE. I mean, what the hell would she even be doing on that show? Doesn't even make any sense. But they were in the background, arguing loudly as Tiffany Stratton, the new United States champion, was being interviewed in the back. And then she was interrupted by the returning Chelsea Green. This is after her heart procedure that she had recently, so it's good to see her back. Chelsea again tried to team up with Tiffany. Tiffany didn't want to have anything to do with pairing up with her. And I'm like, I don't know why we're basically rerunning the whole like Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss angle where they were kind of reluctant partners at first. Remember, at first, Charlotte was not interested in being tag team partners with her. That's essentially what we're seeing here. Chelsea wants to partner up. Tiffany doesn't want to have anything to do with partnering up with her. I'm not really sure why we're running this back. But look, the reality is Chelsea's on her own. Piper Niven just had neck surgery. Alba Fire was fired. Chelsea's all by herself. And you know what would make more sense to me? Why not have an on-screen pairing of Chelsea Green and Matt Cardona? Why not? They can support each other. Right? I'm not saying transition her into a valet and that's it, but like, I feel like that could be fun. And it actually could help Cardona more than it would Chelsea. You could plug Chelsea anywhere on the show. She's going to excel. But I feel like it would actually be of some help to Matt Cardona if they got something going on screen with the two of them. But again, I don't think Cardona is the priority for them. I don't think they give a shit. But I would rather see that than this. Now back to the ring. Out next is the undisputed, except very much disputed, champion, the WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. Comes down to the ring, but before he gets into the ring, he goes over by the announce area. He grabs an office chair, and he throws it into the ring. He grabs another office chair from the timekeeper's area, and he throws that into the ring. He goes under the ring. He pulls out a table. Now, see, I don't remember now. Was it a Slim Jim table? That's usually where all the Slim Jim table... I see, now I don't remember if the Slim Jim logo was on the table. Now I'm very pissed at myself. I wasn't paying attention to that. But he went under the ring. He pulled out a table, put that in the ring. He was getting everything all set up nice and neat for a contract signing. And I'm just watching this. I'm like, man, TKO is even laying off the backstage staff. So now the talent, Cody, the champion, has to rearrange all the furniture in the ring now because they didn't have the usual people to come out and do it. They were asked to take a 75% pay cut by TKO, and they said goodbye. Cody says he has all the ingredients here for a contract signing, including a contract for Gunther to come to SmackDown and challenge him for the WWE Championship in Italy. Okay, so it was not a Slim Jim table. I thought that was the case. That might have been the biggest surprise and the most amazing part of the entire show. They pulled a table out from under the ring, and there were no Slim Jim logos on it. This is what I call progress. This is good. Although Slim Jim may not be very happy about that. He has a breach of contract. It could be a breach of contract. That could put the whole relationship now in peril. Gunther comes out. Only out onto like the stage in the aisleway. He doesn't get in the ring. But he comes out and he goes, last week, talked about how much time and effort went into the deal that was made with him and Nick Aldis just for Cody to ruin the entire thing. The roster transfer of the best wrestler in WWE. And still, Cody made it all about himself. Typical American. But he shouldn't be surprised. Cody just can't handle not being the center of attention. Not this time, though. Says this is his deal. It's his title match. And that will be his title soon. So, Golden Boy, just be professional. And Gunther wants him to ask nicely. Don't forget to say please. And Cody says Gunther is the one making this weird by not signing like a professional. The contract is right here. If Gunther needs a please, then sure. Please sign it. So Gunther is guaranteed then to get his ass kicked in Italy. Gunther said Gunther could feel that Cody didn't mean that. I don't think you meant that please. So instead, please, Mr. Gunther. Out comes Royce Keys. He comes out on stage and he gets right up in Gunther's face. And he's got a mic. And he says, well, if you're not going to sign that contract, I will. Get it, Will Hobbs? Anyway, he comes down to the ring and he gets inside and Cody's like, okay. He's flipping the page as he goes, sign right here. And he's ready, got the pen in hand and he's ready to sign that contract. And so now Gunther runs down to the ring and he stops him from signing the contract, takes the pen away from him. And so Keys takes the pen back and he goes to sign again. And again, Gunther takes the pen away from him. We had like a battle for the pen here. So Nick Aldis comes out and he says, this should have been very simple. This contract here should have had Gunther's signature on it, but it's not there now, right? He overplayed his hand. And so now the title match is up for grabs. Tonight in our main event, it will be Gunther one-on-one with Royce Keys, and the winner will go on to challenge Cody Rhodes for the championship at Clash in Italy. And Gunther storms out of the ring. Cody tells Keys, I'm proud of you. We're friends. But he reminds him, in case you didn't already hear him say it 16 other times over the last 2 weeks, his new catchphrase, if it's not already on a t-shirt, it will be very soon. It probably already is on a t-shirt. But he tells him, I'm easy to find, hard to beat. It sounds like some cheesy, like 2006 WWE Studios film that he would have been the star of. Hard to Beat, starring Cody Rhodes. It would have made like $1.5 million and then straight to DVD. But he wants you to know, not hard to find, but he's hard to beat. Very good. I like this setup for the main event here. It puts Royce Keys in a prime position on the show, his first main event since coming to SmackDown. It's a fresh match that we haven't seen before. It's two big guys getting in the ring and beating each other up. Gunther against Royce Keys. So I like that. You know why? I also like that because it means no Solo Sikoa or MFTs or any of the Bloodline lore. We kept it out of the main event this week. We had two people that had nothing to do with any of that in the main event. That was refreshing. That was nice. So I like that. Speaking of which, we go backstage. The Condemned. The Condemned wasn't a bad movie, huh? The Marine 5, still marining, yes. How many Marine movies were there? Because I know Miz was in a few of them, right? Was he Jake Cage? Was that his name? Miz was in at least two of them. I know that. I'm not hard to find. I'm hard to beat. Shut the fuck up. So we go backstage. Solo Sikoa is there with his MFTs, and they're talking amongst each other around the television set. And Solo says that the tag team titles can wait. He asks if Tama Tonga understands the assignment for tonight. R-Truth is not cleared to wrestle. Now, originally they had announced a tag team match. It was going to be Damian Priest and R-Truth, I think, against the MFTs. And then we found out that R-Truth was not medically cleared, which I believe is a legitimate thing, and so it changed to a singles match. I suppose the whole thing could be an angle, but originally it was supposed to be a tag team match. So he said Tama Tonga, therefore, tonight needs to take out Damian Priest one-on-one. Solo and Tama Tonga, they head out to go find Royce Keys, because he's like, I'm going to go find Keys. So they leave. Tama Tonga is still standing there, which of course means that in the shadows, here he comes, Shinsuke Nakamura. And old Pinsuke walks in to chat with Tama Tonga. He doesn't really have a whole lot to say before he gets attacked by Tama Tonga, who says, I warned you to stay away from him. And he picks him up and he chokeslams him through a table. And that was the end of that. After a break, Nick Aldis is going at it verbally with Gunther in the back, who's a madman over what just happened. It's my title match. And Aldis, again, he reiterates that, look, you overplayed your hand. Now you're going to have to earn it. Carmelo Hayes, one-on-one with... No, that was earlier in the show. Carmelo Hayes did not go one-on-one with Brie Bella. But thank you, Venom Kitetsu. I think Mello would be able to find a way to make that match watchable, though. But I will say, if I had to sit here and watch Carmelo Hayes sell for Brie Bella doing the yes kicks, I would quit. That was it. That would be it for me. I would stop watching wrestling. My heart couldn't take that. But we had Carmelo Hayes against Ricky Saints. It's about time we got Mello back on TV. It was good to see him back. Now, late in the match, Hayes attempted a first 48. Saints blocked it, and he hit him with this high-angle driver that looked like he just spiked him right down on his head. Thankfully, at the last minute, he did tuck his head, so it was safe. But like upon impact, I think even the announcers reacted in such a way, like, "Oh my God, it looked bad." When he first did, and I'm sure that's something that someone probably said something to him about after, I would imagine. So then the match was interrupted, and this was wild. He got Hayes, I think, in like a chin lock or reverse chin lock, whatever it was. And they interrupt this match with a preview for the new Brendan Fraser movie, Pressure, which I just saw a preview of it actually before the movie Obsession tonight. It's about the 72 hours leading up to D-Day. If you were wondering what the movie is about, because we heard audio, but there was no video. So I'm looking at Ricky Saints and Carmelo Hayes in the ring in a rest hold, and I'm hearing a fucking movie preview. I'm listening to someone talking about fucking D-Day. And these two men are on the mat in the ring. There's no video. I just hear audio. I have no idea what this was about. I have no idea what the purpose of this was other than just to piss me off in the middle of this match here. So Saints hit Hayes with a boot to the face, followed by a rebound back suplex for a 2 count. Saints was very frustrated. So he went for his Revolution DDT. Hayes was able to counter that, turn it into the first 48, only for a close near fall. So Mello was struggling as he got back up to the top rope, and he missed nothing but net. Saints followed with the Revolution DDT. Hayes, though, was able to kick out at the last second. So Saints, he went for Rochambeau. He couldn't get it. So he shoved Hayes into the corner, shoulder first, and then he took him down. He tried to get the pin using the foot on the ropes. Charles Robinson, though, at the last second, he spotted him and he stopped the count. Saints was arguing with the referee. Hayes snuck up and rolled him up, and he counted 1, he counted 2, and then Hayes gave him a taste of his own medicine, and this time the referee did not see it. He put his feet on the ropes, and he got the rope-assisted pin to defeat Ricky Saints. These are the kinds of matches that I would like to see more of on this show. I want to see more Carmelo Hayes in general. But him against a newcomer like Ricky Saints, this is what I mean. This is a fresh match, right? This is what the future of SmackDown should look like in the months to come as they call up these new faces and you get them in there with guys who can actually go out there and have a quality match on the show. And so I thought this was solid. There's a rock solid match here. Saints, I will say, Ricky Saints is now 1 for 3 since being called up to the main roster. He lost to Cody Rhodes. He beat Matt Cardona. And here he lost to Carmelo Hayes. So that's going to have to change at some point, right? Nothing too alarming yet, but that can't keep up for much longer. But good for Carmelo Hayes. You know, he comes back with a win. My hope here is that they establish him again as a contender in the U.S. title picture very soon. Or I should say reestablish, because they had done a pretty good job of letting him go out there and establish himself on the show, and then he just vanished. So I feel like now it's almost like you're not that you're starting from scratch, but now you kind of got to start from the beginning and get him to a point where, all right, you get him in a program with Trick Williams or whatever they have in mind for. I'm not even sure what else he would be doing. And then Ilya Dragunov is another one where he doesn't have to be wrestling for the U.S. title right now, but let's get him back on TV as well. Let's get him back in the mix. I'm watching this show every single week, as you know, right? I do these reviews every week. I watch Raw, I watch SmackDown. We talk about the main shows. You can't talk about what's going on with the WWE product and not follow what's happening on Raw and SmackDown. This is what the people who always come at me with these dumbass comments don't understand. Well, if you don't like SmackDown, why did you stop watching SmackDown? Okay, sure. I'll just stop doing the podcast. How about that? This is what I do. We watch the shows. You get good shows, you get bad shows. Unfortunately for all of us who watch these fucking shows, the Friday night show has been worse than the Monday night show, and it's been bad more often than good. It doesn't mean that they don't have the ability to reverse that at some point. That's what we're all hoping for. So that one day I'll be able to come on here and say, holy shit, we got a really good episode of SmackDown tonight, or wow, that was the best SmackDown all year. And you keep hoping every week that goes by, this is going to be the week, this is going to be the week. I'm still waiting, right? But at some point you hope it's going to come. But Raw and SmackDown are the two key shows of the week. You got to keep up with what's going on if you want to know what's going on with the key stories on the show. You know, that's just the reality of it. And Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov were two of the best parts of SmackDown for months. For months. This show is demonstrably worse without them on the show. So we got Hayes back. Now let's get Dragunov back in the mix. Unless he's dealing with an injury that we're not aware of. To my knowledge, I've heard nothing about him being hurt. Let's get him back on the show. Let's get him reestablished. And then at some point, in the not too distant future, I hope, maybe we could even get him in there with Gunther, which is one of the parts about Gunther being on SmackDown that I love, is that it puts him and Ilya Dragunov on the same brand. But this show is demonstrably worse since they've been banished from SmackDown. When was the last good or great SmackDown? Don't ask me. I have no idea. I have no idea. This show has been shit for much of 2026. In the back, the not medically cleared R-Truth is all smiles, and he finds Royce Keys and he thanks him for last week, and he invites Keys to join the Judgment Day. And Keys says, "I'll think about it." So Damian Priest shows up as Keys walks off, and Truth says he invited Keys to join Judgment Day 2000 with them. Yeah, there was a period of time where all you would need to do is just add 2000 to the end of something, and it's supposed to make it sound cool. NWO 2000. Judgment Day, that DX 2000. Just add 2000 to the end of it. Add 2000 to the end of it, or in certain names, if you replace the I with a Y, I guess that's also supposed to be cool. China with a Y. What was the other one? There was one in WCW also. It was one of the I think it was one of the females in WCW. It was a very similar thing. Replace the I with a Y, and it's supposed to be cool. Or put a Z at the end of it instead of an S. The Dudley Boys. The Hardy Boys. Doesn't that sound cool? Oh, man. Anyway, Priest doesn't trust Royce Keys yet. You know, he's been hanging around, and Solo Sikoa's around, and he just doesn't trust this guy. So he warns Truth to be careful. Priest told Truth, look, you can't be at ringside tonight because you're not medically cleared. He said, whatever happens is going to happen, but at least I know that you'll be back here and you'll be safe. Oh, Medeja. Oh, Asia. Yes, Asia. Is it Asia or Medeja? Medeja was one of Scott Steiner's freaks, I believe, right? As he called them. Yes, I'm going to change the name of the podcast to Solomonster Sounds with a Z off. It's going to be so much cooler. We're going to make it happen.
It's the amazing Gunther. Jerry Lawler loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
I like that. Solomonster Sounds off. It's got a nice ring to it, doesn't it? After the break, in the back. Hey, Lost Dill, before I go on, I should thank Lost Dill, man. Lost Dill just came in with a $50 Gunther bomb. And you know what? For a $50 Gunther bomb, we're not going to wait. We're going to read what he has to say right now. 20 minutes behind, but if I hear Joe Hendry's entrance music still hasn't been played for the live TV audience, I'm going to lose it. Thank you for watching so I don't have to, and acknowledge your tribal chief. Yeah, Joe Hendry has just been randomly appearing. Joe Hendry doesn't even get an entrance on TV. His entrance and song is basically the whole gimmick. It's kind of weird. He did say, though, that he just recorded an entire album of songs through WWE that will be released this summer. So as long as Def Rebel had nothing to do with the actual, writing and producing of the music, then I have semi-high hopes for this. But apparently he's got a whole album. Who was this person, by the way, who just came out? Apparently, I saw something on social media. Somebody came out today or yesterday with 3 albums at once. What is this nonsense that I was reading about? 3 albums at once? Who was that? Who does that? But Danhausen is in the back, and he's again in his evil science lab with the cloning machine behind him. And he said, now for something even bigger and better. And he wheeled in a stretcher with a man under a tarp, like a dead body, I guess, and typed away on his big computer, and he hit the enter key and sparks flew. And so he's trying to revive someone. He should try to revive this dead show. Maybe it was SmackDown under the tarp. Good luck with that. Speaking of dead, Damian Priest against Tama Tonga. It was Drake. See, I thought it was somebody else. So why would Drake release 3 albums at once? What is the point of that? What is the purpose of releasing 3 albums at once? How many songs is that? Is that like 30 songs? It's got to be a joke. It's got to be a rib. I don't think that's true. I think it's all bullshit. But anyway, Damian Priest against Tama Tonga. So after a break, there was a Priest shoulder tackle outside that sent Tama flying over the announce desk. Priest rolled Tama back inside. He headed up top, and Tama ran towards him, and Priest slipped and crotched himself on the top turnbuckle before he even got there, which did not look fun. 45 songs. Oh, he's getting out of his record deal. 45 songs. The question is, are any of them good? But anyway, it ended up working out okay for Damian Priest in the end. Let's fast forward to the end of this, shall we? The straps came down, the South of Heaven hit, and Damian Priest won. The end. So Priest was slow to get to his feet, but he got hit, kind of, not really. They did these guys dirty with this camera angle because it was clear the boot didn't connect, but Tala Tonga mowed him down with a big boot, and he was joined in the ring by Solo Sikoa. Tala then picked up Priest and shoved him towards Solo, who dropped him with a Samoan spike. Riveting stuff. I don't care about this, as you can tell. I don't care about this. I don't care about the tag team titles. They have killed tag team wrestling in this company, so fuck these people. I don't care about their tag titles on Raw. I don't care about their tag titles on SmackDown. There is no division. There is no purpose or reason behind any of this. I don't care to see the MFTs continue to go after the tag team titles. The MFTs are barely even a thing anymore. They went from 5 to 3. It needs to go from 3 to 0. And let these guys go do something else. I'm not saying get rid of them. I'm just saying enough of this. Enough of this. I watch Damian Priest out there, and it's sad. Like, it is sad. The fall off is sad in the react. People are apathetic towards him when he is out there. They don't care. They don't care. Library silent for the vast majority of this match. Nobody cares. But this is like this stuff. When I see this in the MFTs, we're going after the tag team titles and Priest and Truth. Like, this is consistently the worst part of the show every week. Like, this is the part of the show that, like, if I could, I would just hit the fast forward button. And I never would have said that before about Damian Priest. I have nothing against Damian Priest. That's what I would say. Sad. It's sad to see where he was and where he is now. And how did we get here? You know, I know he missed a good chunk of time last year. He had a bad back. And they were trying to look out for him, and they were like, you're going to take time. Like, they forced him to take time off. And so that hurt him a little bit, not being around as much. But that's no excuse. This is a guy who at one point was, I would say, a pretty major character on the television show on Mondays. But ever since he got moved to Fridays, man, it's like it's two totally different people. It's like it's not even the same guy. Now we go to the back. Sami Zayn is sitting there complaining and venting to somebody who we can't see. And then the camera pans over, and it is depressed Johnny Gargano, who is still laying there comatose, eyes wide open, catatonic. And Sammy is talking about how, man, you know, wrestling used to be great. Yeah, wrestling. Hey, he was shooting here. Wrestling used to be great. What happened to wrestling? I ask myself that question every fucking week when I watch this show. What happened? What happened? I mean, look, I love the Vault channel on YouTube. Okay, I'm subscribed, and it's got like 4 million subscribers. I'm not the only one. But it's unavoidable. Like, when new videos get posted and shit pops up, because it's a mix of different stuff. I say the Vault. It's not just like 80s stuff. It's stuff from the 2010s and the 2000s and the 90s and the 80s. And like, there'll be some SmackDown stuff that pops up. So even that, it'll pop up, and I'm like, man, what happened? How did we go from that to this? How is this even the same company? How is this the same product? How is this a lot of the same people? You know, Pritchard and Hayes and Levesque. I mean, I know Vince isn't there, but my God, like, what the hell happened here? I ask myself that question every week. Me and Sammy, we share a lot in common here. We should probably have a conversation about this. Candice LeRae comes over, and she says, this isn't helping Johnny. She wants a better husband. She doesn't want a husband that's just going to lay around like this. And she walks off. And Sammy says, Johnny doesn't need to listen to the noise. Remember who he is. You can't let anybody take that away from you. What is the point of this? Johnny Gargano has been laying comatose on a cart for, it has to be 6 months. Months. What is the point of this? Like, is this still supposed to be funny? I mean, there are some people who probably didn't find it funny to begin with. It was at least somewhat amusing. It ain't amusing anymore. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I get it, okay? I understand. The man lost his tag team partner. And then they fired the Motor City Machine Guns. So now he's all by himself. if there was going to be some sort of payoff to this with the machine guns, right? That went out the window. I get it. But like, is he literally going to lay there until his contract runs? I mean, is that the idea, that he's just going to lay there every week until his contract runs out and then he'll leave and go to AEW? It is very enticing, the thought of a tag team division that has the Young Bucks, FTR, Cope and Christian, the Motor City Machine Guns if they sign, the New Day if they sign, Ciampa and Gargano. They already have Ciampa. Ciampa and Gargano. That's not even all of them. But can you imagine? Now that's one hell of a tag team division. And I'm not one of these people like, oh, everybody should go to AEW. But I mean, come on. Like if he becomes available, it's just such a no-brainer. It's just like a fucking gimme. It's a layup. Is that the goal here? Let's just kill time until his contract is up. I don't know. I really don't. You know, there's no reason that a Johnny Gargano should not be contributing to the mid-card on this show in some way. Are they in fact building to something with him and Sammy? Are they going to be partners? Are they going to wrestle? Because look, when the moment comes, if we assume that the moment will come, where Johnny all of a sudden he responds, right? He sits up, and it'll get a pop, and that'll be it. Right? That'll be it. If we even get that. I'm not even convinced that we're going to get that. But like, where is there an end goal to this? Do they have an idea in mind? And if they do, can we please fast forward this? Because we've already had 6 months of this. We had Jade and her baddies on the way to the ring for a promo. Jade says that she's taking the title back in Italy. And then she starts rambling on. And I'm like, I just wrote in my notes, this is tough to watch. I mean, she was out there at one point, actually 2 different points, I think. She was out there asking people basically for heat. Like she was saying, she wanted heat from the crowd. She wasn't getting a whole lot of it. She got a little bit of it. She wasn't getting as much, I think, as she wanted to. Charlotte Flair interrupts, followed by Alexa Bliss, because they're going to be taking on Michin and B-Fab tonight. And they both have microphones, and they are talking on their way down to the ring. And Charlotte says that no one wants to hear Jade talk. And Bliss says that this is Flair country. Last week, Jade finally pissed Charlotte off, so let's play. And Jade calls them the backup dancers because Rhea Ripley is the main show. Bliss says that Jade's backup dancers can't even make Jade look good. So Jade calls for a referee, and she warns that I'm getting bored of the two of you. Yeah, I was pretty bored by this myself. This was bad. This is a bad segment. After a break, we also got a reminder that Blake Monroe is coming soon. Supposedly, she could make her debut on the show as early as next week. So if it's not next week, very likely by the week after. She is coming. She is coming. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss against Michin and B-Fab. If Charlotte was not on offense in this match, and then outside of the one moment where Alexa was teasing the Sister Abigail DDT, nobody cared. Nobody in this crowd could be bothered to care about anything else that was going on in this match. And Jade was at ringside. She just sat out there and observed. Flair at one point countered a roll-up into a pretty bad figure 4. Bliss blind tagged in. B-Fab ended up falling to the Sister Abigail DDT. But then Jade yanks Alexa out of the ring. And the referee throws the match out. So we got a cheap DQ finish here. Charlotte, she took care of Michin and B-Fab. The crowd was chanting for Rhea, who wasn't even there. And Jade ended up staring down Charlotte to close out the segment. And then we found out a little later on that just added to Saturday night's main event, not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss will take on Jade Cargill, Michin, and B-Fab. So that is now official for that show. Meanwhile, in the back, Fatal Influence is watching all of this on TV. Kathy Kelly shows up to talk to them, and Fallon Henley says that we're at the top of the food chain, and Lainey Reed is talking about how they're so much better than the other teams, and JC Jane is talking about loyalty, and we're going to get all the gold, and that pretty basic promo here. Then in the back, Royce Keys is getting ready for his main event, and Solo Sikoa, yet again, is here to annoy this man. Solo says he can help Keys become the champion. They can run SmackDown together, and he would hate to see what happened to Nakamura happen to Royce Keys. That line pissed off Keys. He says, I got this. And Solo says, okay. But Jacob Fatu said the same thing. True. And now Jacob Fatu is actually on Raw, killing Roman Reigns and challenging for the World Heavyweight Championship. Meanwhile, Solo Sikoa on this show has lost half his crew, and he spends most of his time backstage. So maybe pipe down a little bit. Maybe this is not the best person to be making an offer to Royce Keys. I don't think Solo Sikoa is the best messenger here. I don't know why Royce Keys would even be giving this man the time of day. Now they announced an unbelievable match for SmackDown next week. I mean, I'm very depressed that I will not be here next week to see this match live. I may have to talk to somebody this week just to have a shoulder to cry on, because I'm very disappointed I won't be here to see it. Next week on SmackDown, it will be Shinsuke Nakamura one-on-one with Tala Tonga. There it is. I mean, has there been a bigger match all year on SmackDown? I don't know about you guys. I'm bummed I ain't going to be here to see that barn burner next week. But that's the one match that's been confirmed for SmackDown next week. I'm sure you will all enjoy Shinsuke and Tala Tonga next week. Enjoy. The main event, Gunther, one-on-one with Royce Keys. This was only Keys' fourth match on SmackDown, and he is already in the main event. We got a test of strength here to kick things off between these two big men. Keys was not backing down. A little bit later on, he got Gunther up for the British Bulldog Power Slam, the running Power Slam. Gunther ended up leaving the ring, and I guess he wanted to get a breather. Keys was like, I don't think so. So he followed him outside. He hurled Gunther over the announce desk. A little later on, Keys was thrown out of the ring by Gunther. Gunther attempted a big boot from the apron. Keys, though, caught him, and he picked him up, and he slammed him 2 or 3 times. I think it was 3 times on top of the announce desk. So back inside, Gunther climbed to the top, but got sent back down with a superplex by Keys for a near fall. Gunther caught him by surprise, though, in a sleeper hold, and he brought him down. Solo Sikoa all of a sudden magically appears at ringside. He's there to root on Royce Keys. He's cheering him on. Come on, Will. Come on, Will. And Solo's appearance causes a little bit of a distraction here for Gunther. So Keys was able to escape the sleeper hold, dropped him with a clothesline. But again, he found himself in the sleeper. Again, Keys managed to free himself, and he pounced him. But he pounced Gunther backwards into the referee. Down goes the ref. So we got a ref bump here. It is. See, everyone in this chat is blown away by how big of a match that is for next week. Like, I'm just like, of all the things that they could announce a week out to get people really excited for SmackDown, that's the one thing they announced. It's just incredible. Incredible to me. So the ref is down. Solo Sikoa goes under the ring. He retrieves a chair, slides it into the ring right at the feet of Royce Keys. He wants him to use the chair. Go ahead, blast him with it, hit him with it. And Keys picks up the chair. He's got a big smile on his face. And he decides, I don't need it. And he chucks the chair right at Solo's head. And Solo goes down. But Gunther is already up. And Royce Keys has no idea. And so unfortunately for him, this distraction proved to be his downfall. As soon as he turned around, he got clotheslined. And then Gunther powerbombed him with the stack. And he got the pin to punch his ticket to Italy. And so we all knew where this was going. This only confirmed Gunther, Cody Rhodes. That is one of your main events. I can't even say the main event. One of your main events. If Gunther is winning the championship, then it should be the main event at Clash in Italy. Cody Rhodes against Gunther. So Gunther, after the match, he goes right up to the camera. There's a camera guy in the corner, and he like really up close, and he grabs the camera, and he's speaking into the camera. He's yelling into the camera at Cody. Cody Rhodes comes up from behind, though, and he puts him in position for a crossroads, and he drops Gunther with crossroads. And that is how the show went off the air. I will say this. I thought the match was solid for the most part. I mean, it dragged a little bit there, but I enjoyed the main event for the most part. It was good to see Royce Keys in a prime position, and not just a prime position. I mean, he was in, what, three or four? I guess four, technically, right? 4 segments on this show. He came out to initially try to sign the contract, right, which led to the main event being made. He was approached by R-Truth in the back. And then later on, he was approached by Solo Sikoa. And then he was in the main event. And so when it comes to these shows, like that's more important than anything that would have happened in the main event. I mean, if you would have beaten Gunther, that would have been pretty big. But like, it's the amount of time they're dedicating to you. And so for him, that's a good sign. And hopefully we'll get to see more of that. And hopefully he'll get more and more over. I just remember like Carmelo Hayes, when he first got called up to SmackDown, right? The #1 draft pick. And then they proceeded to do practically nothing with him. And he just sort of meandered around on the show for like a year, doing nothing. But eventually, when they let him go out there and just work, what do you know? The guy got himself over. So it's not like some of these guys now that aren't getting big reactions. I wouldn't say Royce Keys is getting big reactions. Ricky Saints not getting a lot of reactions yet. Over time, right? It all depends on the booking here. That's why I say, like, Ricky Saints can't keep losing. He's 1 for 3, but he just debuted, right? For now, it's okay, but this can't continue on for much longer. The guy's got to win. Royce Keys, man, just keep putting him in positions like this where he can be featured. He's rubbing shoulders with Gunther. He's rubbing shoulders with Cody Rhodes, right? That's the sort of thing that they should be doing with him. So hopefully we'll see more of that. Now, the downside of this is that it means he's about to be sucked into the MFT's vortex, and he's going to be working with Solo Sikoa and the MFTs. Now, the good news is he didn't join them, so at least we know he's not joining with them. But him being involved with them or feuding with them, that sounds pretty fucking awful to me. But I guess it's something for him to do, and so let's see where it goes. Let's see where it goes. This SmackDown was much like all the other ones. I can cherry pick a couple of things, 2-3 things maybe, on a 3-hour show that I genuinely enjoyed, and the rest of it was just filler. The rest of it was very boring, very dull. It's awful. It's just awful. There's just nothing. There's nothing with this show. There's no life with this show. It's just a very boring watch. I look at some of the people they have on this roster. I'm like, how? It takes a special talent to take some of the talent that they have and actually create an environment where I just don't care about them. I don't care about most of the people on this show, and it shouldn't be that way. I keep hoping they'll come out of this rut. I'll tune in one week, and it'll just be like, wow, this show has a different feel to it. This is kind of nice. And I keep waiting, and I keep hoping and hoping and hoping, and I get nothing. I get nothing. Going to 2 hours will help because it'll be one hour less of this, but it's not going to make the show better. They have to do that. Only they have the power to do that. All we can do is hope. It's all we can do. Yeah, it's good to see Carmelo Hayes back. Now let's get Dragunov back on the show. And I'm looking forward to also seeing what they do with Blake Monroe. She's very good. A Lost Dill. Thank you for the $9.99. Only 3 more. Look at that for the bonus goal. We're getting close. We're getting close. 400 likes was the main goal. We blew past that a long time ago, so we're definitely doing some Be the Booker later. But let's do your super chats first. Let's do that first. Let's start with Joseph Stewart, shall we? Joseph, happy Friday to you as well. I hope you have a very good weekend. Joseph really blew it open the other night. He's back for more. I did see that, by the way, that they have confirmed that Scarlett Johansson will be in the Batman Part 2. I don't know what her role will be, but I know that she will be in the movie. Also confirmed that Charles Dance will be in the Batman as Harvey Dent's father. Brian Tyree Henry and Sebastian Koch. Yeah, these people, I don't know who they are. You may as well be speaking a foreign language to me with some of those names. I don't know who those people are. I know who Scarlett Johansson is, though. Happy birthday to Jamie Lynn Ziegler. Or Sigler. That's right, from The Sopranos. Meadow Soprano. When Val Kilmer was cast as Batman in Batman Forever and Michael Keaton didn't return as Batman, what was your reaction? I was disappointed because Michael Keaton is the... I mean, to me, he's probably still the #1 Batman. If he's not #1, he's #2. Top scenes in Pulp Fiction? I mean, Pulp Fiction is a classic movie. A lot of great scenes in Pulp Fiction. If I had to pick a favorite one, though, I mean, I don't know. Maybe the adrenaline shot to the heart. That whole scene where the car pulls up and... Or, of course, when poor guy in the back seat gets his brains blown out all over the place. And then they have to call in Winston Wolfe. That whole sequence. It's a lot of great scenes in that movie. It's a classic. Joseph should be Robin in the Batman Part 3. Yeah, Joseph, I think you would be committed to that role. I think Joseph, you could be Robin in the Batman Part 3. You just got to talk to the casting director. That would be incredible. That would be incredible. Who's more like Hannibal Lecter, Mankind or Kane? Mankind. Mankind used to pull his own hair out of his head and eat his hair. Kane just wore a mask. Was it on a pay-per-view or an episode of Raw where The Undertaker hit Mankind with the steps and Mankind went through the table? That was a pay-per-view. That was Revenge of the Taker. That was the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania when Undertaker won the championship. And yes, Mankind was on the apron. Undertaker was in the ring with the steps. And he came in and he hit him with the steps right in the shoulder. And he just went flying. He did a header through the announce desk and went right through head first. And then also later on, what happened was the flash paper spot didn't go according to plan. I think the idea was that Mankind was going to have the flash paper and it was going to get inadvertently knocked into Paul Bear's face. He'd be burned. And it didn't work. So Undertaker just took the flash paper and he lit it up and he threw it right in Paul Bear's face. And I think he legitimately burned him with it. But that was the beginning of the Kane storyline. We all know what followed that. You know, playing with fire and playing with glass in wrestling. Those are two things that just are not very smart. Those are two things that just do not want to cooperate. And it's probably just Best to not do that. What are your favorite 2 seasons of The Sopranos? Oh, I don't know. I mean, maybe 4 and 5. They're all great. I love all 6 seasons of The Sopranos. Do you see Sting's sons joining WWE in the future? No. No, I think they're going to be in AEW. I think they're going to keep the family in AEW. Why is Mankind giving Jim Ross the mandible claw during the interview that he did with JR in 97? Which coincidentally, I did a countdown many years ago of the top promos in WWE history, and that whole series, it was like a 3 or 4 part series over the course of like a month. The Mankind sit down with Jim Ross, and I had that as number 1. The number 1 best promo in WWE history. That whole... It was basically one long interview, but they chopped it up into parts, and it was so well done. And we talk about character work and the lack thereof in wrestling today, and it was just a masterclass in just storytelling and character building. Why did he give him the mandible claw? Because Mankind was being vulnerable in the interview, and Jim Ross touched a nerve, and it was just to show you how dangerous the man still is. You know, he was opening up about his life and opening up about his feelings and stuff, and feeling very vulnerable, and JR said the wrong thing, and he paid the price for it. Right? You still got to remind people at the end of it that this guy is still a dangerous menace. You don't want to give the impression that this guy has gone soft. Do you see Bo Dallas going to AEW? No. If Stone Cold never had the neck injury, do you think he would have surpassed Hulk Hogan and The Rock in popularity? I mean, some people would argue he already did surpass them in popularity. No, I mean, I think on some people's lists, he would have ranked higher than Hogan if he would have had the longevity. He was never going to have the longevity that Hogan had. But if his injuries were not such that he had to retire when he did, he could have gotten a few more, probably a few more good years. And we would have had matches with him and Randy Orton, him and John Cena, him and Brock Lesnar. And so it's a shame we didn't get that. But no, I mean, that's an argument that's going to be going on until the end of time. As far as who is more popular overall. Joseph's on fire tonight. Sebastian Stan is going to play 2 comic book characters back to back. Bucky in the Avengers Doomsday and Harvey Dent in the Batman Part 2. He's going to be the Winter Soldier, huh? Interesting. The Devil Wears Prada 2 is a really good movie. I never saw The Devil Wears Prada 1, but I know the second one is doing big box office. Where do you rank the Batman in your favorite Batman movies? It's not ahead of The Dark Knight. It's probably top 3. It's probably top 3. I would probably still have Dark Knight number 1, the first one with Keaton number 2, and then maybe this one number 3. I think that would be fair. Have you seen the Michael Douglas movie, The Game? Yes. Triple H's favorite movie. I saw that many years ago. It says, Pulp Fiction is my Friday night movie tonight. And then I'll be watching The Batman tomorrow night. Now I know why you were asking me questions about Pulp Fiction. Did you know Madonna has a new song out with Sabrina Carpenter? I did not. Joseph, thank you for all the love. I appreciate it. Death Scythe, one of Obafemi's Open Challenge opponents needs to be Sheamus, and they should go for 20 minutes. Hopefully during a commercial-free hour. Yeah, I just don't know what his injury status is. But that would be awesome. That's what I'm hoping for. What a great surprise that would be if we heard his OG music. The problem is that they're going to hit his shitty, generic-ass Irish music that Def Rebel did, and no one's even going to, like, what is that? Right? Until he actually walks out, then he'll get a pop. It's too bad that his music sucks now. They don't seem to really give a shit. They're aware of the problem. They're aware of the fact that many of their own talents don't like their entrance music, and they don't give a shit. Alexander, thoughts on Mustafa Saeed making a comeback in TNA? I didn't watch the show because F that noise, but I saw the clips online and it said he is still around. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. I mean, God, how old is he's got to be, what, 60-ish at this point? One half of the Gangsters? I don't know what he's doing there. I don't know what that's about. Dry Chicken says, I'm going to need a cold ice bath after seeing Chelsea Green, Tiffany Stratton, and Kathy Kelly. Calm down, Dry Chicken. Take a cold shower. He's 62. 62 years old. But why did he suddenly pop up in TNA, though? Like, what was the reason for it? It's just so random. Broly, Kiana turns on Julia on SmackDown Italy on June 5th. Okay, so SmackDown is in Italy on June 5th, so that's where it's gonna happen then. Yeah, she's not. I was gonna say, like, she's not gonna be on the PLE at this point. Like, what match would she even be in? Doesn't make any sense. If they have TV in Italy, they could do it there. It was a cameo in a battle royal. All right, so basically Tommy Dreamer got one of his old ECW buddies a payday in a battle royal. Dried Chicken, O'Shea Jackson Jr. maybe has motivated Triple H to do better with the show. No, he hasn't. It's the same old shit. Fast Eddie, Solo, at this point, divorce has to be on the table for Johnny Gargano. I think divorce needs to be on the table for him in WWE so he can get his career back. That's what I think. This guy's showing up to television, flying across the country every week to lay on a fucking crate. I mean, look, I'm glad he kept his job, but, like, again, to go back to those releases a few weeks ago and what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Explain to me how someone like a Kairi Sane, who was in the middle of a pretty key storyline on the television show, is released from her contract. But Johnny Gargano, who has no discernible story whatsoever and is paid to show up every week to lay on a crate, he's still there. Again, I would love to know what goes into making these decisions that are made, because they don't seem to make a whole lot of sense to me. Death Scythe, if they insist on keeping CM Punk on Raw, then he should have a program with LA Knight. It's not like they're doing anything with him. Yes, they're baby faces, but when has that ever stopped them? Sure. I still think he should end up on SmackDown, but if he stays on Raw, I mean, that's fine. It says, after all, Punk was feuding with Seth when he was a babyface until Seth turned heel. No, you could definitely do it. Chris Bars with a $9.99. He's dropping bars here tonight. Tonight could have been worse. It really could have. Been watching you for about 2 years, Solo. First time I've super chatted. I do love your show. Well, I love to hear that. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Oh, it could always be worse. It doesn't mean that it's good, but it could always be worse, which is kind of scary when you think about it. We got Scatman79. Thank you for the $1.99. John Sternecker with a $4.99. SmackDown was an okay show, saying it loosely. Have you heard of Jericho's fan video, Strange Kentucky People? What? What does that mean? His fan video? Strange Kentucky People? I don't know. I don't know what that is. Zach Black with a $10 super chat. It's been a while, man. I'm glad to be back on a schedule that enables me to catch your show live again. I would have to recommend Mortal Kombat 2 and also Hokum for completely different reasons. That's another horror movie I think that came out this month or is coming out this month. And I don't know too much about that one, but let me know if that's something that's worth seeing or if you think it's something I would enjoy. I'm actually thinking about Passenger, but I don't know when I would see it. I got House of Glory next Friday. And we got the Backrooms the week after. So many movies coming out. But some quality horror films. Wallace says, just saw Obsessed yesterday. Highly disturbing. It is very disturbing. It's unnerving. It's like, it's one of those movies where you watch it and... I mean, there's definitely some jump scare moments in there, but you watch it and you're just kind of like on edge the entire time. Like you're stressed out the entire time. It's a wild movie, but I would highly recommend it if you're into horror. I would highly recommend it. Wallace says Little People's Court in 2009 was better than this shit. Yeah. It was. Devin from NJ, if House of Glory had a mascot, would it be a hog? Well, I guess it would have to be, wouldn't it? It only makes sense. It would be my hog. Venom Kitetsu, $25. $25 Brie mode. Will you be checking in on or watching the MVP fights tomorrow? Haven't had Netflix in years myself, but decided $9 isn't bad to watch Rousey and Carano alone. I also have a crush on Ronda. Happy Friday. Yeah, I'm going to be checking out at least their fight. I know the show starts at 9, and I think they're going to the cage at 11. So I am planning on tuning in at least for that. But thank you, brother. Also, don't forget Godzilla -0 in November. Have you seen the trailer yet? Yeah, with New York at the end, right? Yeah, I saw the trailer. Yeah, I saw -1, right? Yeah, I saw -1. So I'll have to see this one. Godzilla in New York. Base Beerus. I tell you what, I was very sad, though, to hear that Masters of the Universe is coming out in a few weeks. Like 3 weeks, June 5th. I believe is when the movie comes out. And I am planning on checking it out. But I was sorry to see the early projections and tracking for the movie is like a $25 million opening weekend. Which on a budget of $200 million is not good. I hope it does well. It's not tracking well, but there's still time. There's still time to change things around. Base Beer says, a dream match that no one talks about is Eddie versus HBK. Plenty of people have talked about it. Everyone incorrectly says that was the plan for WrestleMania 22. It was never actually planned for WrestleMania 22. But I hear people mention that match quite often, actually. We got Lost Dill with that $50 bomb from earlier. Lost Dill, again, I salute you, sir. Thank you for that. Base Beer says Solomonster sounds off 2000.
Look at Richie Rich over here dropping all this money on me. Hey, I just want you to know.
From the magenta to the red.
I think you rock. I don't mean the rock, a rock. You rock. And I just wanted you to know that.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
We got a bomb. I thought Lost Dill was going to have the only big bomb of the night. And then James Crawford comes from out of nowhere. Like an RKO out of nowhere. And he just RKOs Lost Dill out of the top spot. Lost Dill thought he had it won, man. The copyright box came on in the corner of the screen. We thought the show was going off the air. And then James Crawford from out of nowhere. James, thank you, sir. Boom goes the dynamite. Wow. Man, threw me off my game now. I gotta get myself back together here. I was gonna say, Base Beer says Solomonster sounds off 2000. It sounds cool, doesn't it? I like that. May have to rename the show. Justin G, are we really going to end up with a Festus Gargano? Well, isn't that what we've had? Isn't he already Festus? You mean to tell me it gets worse? He's going to start sticking his tongue out soon? This is Festus Gargano. Lost Dill with the $9.99. Hendry has been officially on TV for 3 weeks. No entrance music. And be the Booker round 2, hopefully, he says. Well, we are 1 away from the bonus goal. So I would say there's a fairly good chance that will happen here. But let's go through the rest of these. Arabian Night 2000. Arabian Night. You know what? Arabian Night, we didn't even know it. Arabian Night is the trendsetter here. He's got 2000 in his name. What's cooler than Arabian Night? Arabian Night 2000. It says, is Ilya still employed? This company doesn't deserve his talents. He's a wrestling-focused star in a company that doesn't prioritize in-ring. He should go to AEW. Yes, he is still employed. And I hope that they will get him back on TV very soon. And I will simply counter that by saying Gunther is also a wrestling-focused star. And he's in a pretty good spot. So even in a company that does not prioritize in-ring in the way that maybe other companies do, it is not correct to say that a wrestling-focused performer cannot get over at a high level. They just have to want to push that person and put their muscle behind them. They've done it with Gunther. There's no reason they can't do it with someone like Ilya. I'm not even saying he has to be in like the Gunther spot, but like get him on the show and let's get him in the mix. He brings an intensity that the show lacks. If anything, he's probably over intense, but that's what makes him unique. Right? He's not just a really good wrestler. He just brings this intensity to the table that you just don't find a lot of here in the modern WWE product. That's what makes him unique. Broly. Everyone is in a fucking vortex in this company. Every feud has to go for 2 or 3 months. Everyone has maybe 2 or 3 feuds a year in this company. What do they say, Broly? You gotta let him cook. You gotta let him marinate. Let him cook for a couple years. I don't know why I sound like Macho Man. Rep Morgan says, I laugh every time I hear Brie's theme. I always think of that time you forced yourself to listen to it on repeat while you got your medical scan. Yes. Oh, believe me, I remember it very well on the whatever it was, the MRI machine, the MRI tube. Don't move. You can't move, but we'll play. What music do you want to listen to? Play it off my Spotify playlist from my phone. We could do whatever you want. They play it over the speaker, but you can't move. There's like wrestling songs randomized in some playlist and fucking Brie mode comes on. And like, you just picture like a single teardrop coming down my face, like something out of a horror movie. What do they call that stuff? It's there's a they actually had a movie. I think Jessica Alba was the star. And I forget the name of it, but it's a real condition. It's very scary. Where your body is basically paralyzed, but you're awake. But you can't move. That's what that reminded me of. EJ Slemp, 20 years ago today, Terry Funk told Mick Foley on Raw that the WWE sucks. I remember that. That he was saying all kinds of horrible shit about Foley and his kids and his family in that promo. But it was when he told him the WWE sucks. That was too far, and that's when Foley hit him. I remember that. That was heading into One Night Stand, right? 06. Truer words, he says, have never been spoken. More relevant today. Funk was a genius. Well, it's funny you mentioned that. There was actually a sign in the crowd on SmackDown tonight that said Terry Funk is a god. Sleep paralysis. Yes, that's a real thing. That's a real condition. Okay, the movie was called Awake. Yeah, that is one movie I did not see. Alexander. Hopefully Julia gets a match at Clash in Italy. She won't. Lost Dill. I understand it made good TV, but if Gunther signs the contract, what does all this do for the main event? LOL. Be the booker. It's a very good question. Had Gunther actually signed the contract, what would our main event have been? Probably something with Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa against Shinsuke Nakamura would have been our main event tonight. And yes, we hit the bonus goal. Let them know. Leo, all I want is Kiana on her own, preferably as a babyface on a singles run, winning matches. Is that too much to ask? With this administration, yes, it is. I do think that they have plans to elevate her. I don't know if it was a babyface, though. I still feel like Julia, if anything, would be the babyface when they split, and Kiana would be the heel. I don't know, though. I don't know. I do feel that way, though. I feel like Julia would be the babyface, Kiana would still be the heel. Lost Dill, give me a reason to renew my membership, Solo. Be the booker. New content is what I mean. You want more. He wants more. He wants more. I should do another RSPW Rewind. Maybe we'll set that as another Super Chat goal soon. I just need time to sift through all of the links that I still have for the next batch of posts. EJ Slamp, my Mount Rushmore of funniest wrestling personalities. Heenan, Santino, R-Truth, Eddie, honorable mention, Yoshihiko. Do you like the list? I mean, it's okay. Heenan, of course, is on there. Santino, I can see Santino. But where's Kurt Angle? How do you not have Kurt Angle on that list? You got to have Kurt Angle. Also, buy or sell Cena versus Doring or Tanahashi versus Sylvain Grenier. Two legends who retired last year versus random guys that I love for no reason. I mean, who gives a shit about Sylvain Grenier? But it's Tanahashi, so you know he can make that into something good probably. Cena and Doring, yeah, I'll go Cena Doring, I guess. Base Beerus, They Live is so good. Remember the fight scene? It's the best fight scene in movie history. Of course I remember it. Roddy Piper and Keith David. Out in the alley. It is a classic. It has become a cult classic over the years. It wasn't at the time, but as the years have gone by, it's become a cult classic. Let's see what else we have here before we get to our Be the Booker. Here we got Combat Theater. Carano or Rousey tomorrow, and do you like MMA? Yeah, I'm not like a mega fan or anything like that, and I've kind of fallen out of it because it's not as exciting as it used to be. But I mean, I'm a fan of it. Carano or Rousey? Rousey. I'm going Rousey for the win. I know Rousey hasn't fought in 10 years, but I mean, Gina hasn't fought in 17 years. So, plus I feel like if that fight had happened when both of them were in their prime, it would have been a Ronda win then too. So I'm going to stick with Ronda. She's been more active more recently than Gina has. Justin says Harry the Hog for HOG. Harry the Hog. All right. I'll talk to Brian and we'll see what we can do. Harry the Hog is the official HOG mascot. How about the Gingerbread Man? We bring him back to life, and we have the Gingerbread Man as the official HOG mascot. James, again, that $100 bomb, brother. I thank you very much for that. It's very kind of you. Whenever we see a red bomb pop up, that means a lot. Justin says, F it. Says, round 2, be the booker. Who the heck can save SmackDown at this point? It is getting egregious. I don't know that it's anybody from this current administration. So I don't have a good answer for you. Broly says, main roster drags people down. I know it's Dave's ratings, but Vicaire has had 2 4-star matches in the main roster, 9 in NXT. Julia has 0 on the main roster. She had 10 in NXT. Oh, I said that a long time ago. Stephanie and Julia were like 2 different people in NXT compared to the way they've looked on the main roster so far. Linkmaster, how did you not die laughing during the MRI? Laughing? You mean crying? I didn't find any of that humorous. I know you did. I know all of you did, but at the time, I wouldn't exactly say that I was dying of laughter. I was dying on the inside. Oh, we got West Coast James. Hollywood Herrera, 59 months of channel membership. There are prison sentences that aren't that long, but he's been a channel member for almost 60 months. Says F SmackDown. Take me back to HOG show. Yeah, we finally got to meet for the first time in Los Angeles, the last show, a few weeks ago. I had the time of my life watching good wrestling and drinking Red Bull vodka. It's the way it goes, brother. That's the way it should be. Says that was a good Friday night. They had a bar on one side. I think they had did they have a bar on the other side? I think there's 2 bars there inside the Globe Theater. Yeah, we'll be back there. I'm sure we'll be back there in a few months. Venom Katetsu, Don Fry, or Ken Shamrock? Ken Shamrock. Maze the Great. Look at that. He's only 1 month less than James. 58 months of membership. I'm going to a con tomorrow. I'll be meeting Mick Foley. Is there any specific question you would like me to ask him? No, nothing off the top of my head. He penned a very nice tribute on his Facebook page to
look at Richie Rich over here dropping all this money on me. Hey, I just want you to know.
Wow.
I think you rock. I don't mean the rock, a rock. You rock. And I just wanted you to know that.
He did it again. He did it again. James Crawford with another $100 bomb. Says, I love you, Solo. You are my tribal chief of the YWC. Does that constitute an official acknowledgement? I have been acknowledged. I feel special. James, you're awesome. You're the king of the night here. Look at this guy. Look at this. Look at all the bombs in the chat. I know who his favorite character is in all the Super Mario games. Ba-bomb. Holy shit. James, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge all of your support here tonight. Knocked me back on my heels a little bit here. What was I saying to May? Oh, about Foley. Right in the middle. Yeah, I know. In the middle of his question. How dare you? What I was saying is he penned a very nice tribute to Barry Blaustein, who passed away this week. He was the one who produced the Beyond the Mat documentary back in, which is it's either that or Wrestling with Shadows, the best wrestling documentary ever made. And the two of them were very good friends. And I'll talk more about Barry a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much time on him, but I'll mention him on the Sound Off this weekend. Very, very close with Eddie Murphy. He was one of the writers, the key writers on a lot of his famous skits and sketches in the early days of Saturday Night Live. I think he wrote Coming to America and then the sequel. And there was another Eddie Murphy movie he worked. Oh, Boomerang. He worked on that movie as well. So, not like a big Hollywood guy, but he was also a big, big wrestling fan. And Foley had seen him not that long ago. He actually went out and visited him, and they got to hang out because he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's many years ago. But then he got hit with this pancreatic cancer diagnosis like a month ago. And I mean, that's a killer. So he wanted to send a letter to Barry. And then I think Barry's daughter was like, well, if you're going to send it, you should send it now because he doesn't have a lot of time left. And so I don't know if he overnighted the letter or whatever he did, but he wrote a whole letter to him and he sent it to him. And I think the letter got to his home on the day that he died. So he never got to see the letter. But yeah, it's a very nice piece. As far as what to ask him, I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm sure if you ask him about AEW, he's not going to give you a straight answer. He's been in the news this week. Maybe ask him, here's a question. In light of this AEW stuff, ask him when his Legends deal is up with WWE. Because the belief is that it was up in June, which if that's the case, he wouldn't be able to show up at Double or Nothing. But maybe it's already up. And that's why people are talking about the possibility of him being on that pay-per-view. So maybe just ask him, hey, when's your Legends deal up? He may not give you a straight answer, but it's worth asking the question. Yeah, pancreatic cancer. It's called it's the number one. I think it's the number one deadliest cancer. Because by the time you have it, it's too late. I guess just where it is in the body, it tends to be very hidden. And so if you already have symptoms of it, like that's it. It's too late. You would have to catch it almost by accident, which some people do. And they're very, very lucky. But it's a very, very dead. I don't know what the mortality rate on that is. It might be something like 10%. It's not good. And if you're already sick with something else, and he was probably 70, what was he, 71, 72, which is not that old, but still, you're older, you already have some other illness you're dealing with. And, poor guy probably didn't stand a chance. But we did hit not only the likes goal tonight, we smashed that, but we hit the bonus goal. And so on that note, I'm going to stop blabbering on here and let's go ahead. Let's be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
Yeah, you got to get your checkups, get your annual physical, your colonoscopy, all that stuff. You know what's crazy is that when James Vanderbeek passed away a few months ago, I don't know, that really scared me. And I was like, man, I should probably, get a colonoscopy. And most insurance companies will not cover it until you're 45. You have to be a certain age. And I'm not there yet. So I'm like, But this is the question that a lot of people will face. It's like, well, if I just wait, if I wait a year, 2 years, 3 years, then I'll qualify and then I won't have to pay for it. But it's like, well, yeah, but then it may be too late. So like, you know, you gotta weigh the pros and cons of it because it's all about money, you know, and these tests, these tests are very expensive. You know, it's a real issue. In any event, let's do our tag team match here. The Steiner brothers. Look at this. Rick and Scott. Look at those belts. Back when tag team gold meant something. Look at those titles right there. The former WWF tag team champion. Tag team champions. Defending those titles. Wow. Look at this. Look at this. How's that for a match? Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi against Rick and Scott Steiner. How's that for a dream tag team match? You know, that word gets thrown around a lot. Dream match. This is a dream match. That's a dream match. Actually, we have a pretty cool match coming up at HOG next Friday. I'll tell you about it in a second, but this is a hell of a match right here. This can main event the entire show. This could be our main event. That's how good of a match that is. But we got a few more to book, including a women's match here. Did somebody say Ronda Rousey a little while ago? Look who just popped up on screen. She's actually wrestling 24 hours before she fights Gina Carano. How very nice of her. Ronda Rousey stepping back into the wrestling ring right before on the eve of her big fight. To take on Athena, the Ring of Honor Women's Forever Champion, the Infinity Champion. How long has she been champion for now? 5,000 days? Ronda Rousey and Athena. Well, well, well. We're on a roll, man. We're killing it so far. We can't mess this up. Oh, did somebody say Ken Shamrock a little while ago? I do believe. Was it you, Venom Katetsu? Somebody said Don Fryer, Ken Shamrock. I said Ken Shamrock, and just like that. Look at that. He pops up. He appears. Rhonda heard her name, and she appeared. Ken Shamrock heard his name. Or heard his name. And there he is. It's funny how that works. I'm telling you, this thing, man. This thing has a mind of its own. Actually, you know what? Holy shit. I mean, I know he looks Mike Tyson looks like he just watched an episode of Smackdown here in this image, but how's that for a fucking main event? Ken Shamrock against Mike Tyson. Iron Mike Tyson and Ken Shamrock. Both men in their prime. Who wins? Who wins that fight? Wow, what a round we just had. Ken Shamrock against Mike Tyson. Ronda Rousey against Athena. And the Steiner brothers against Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. Is that not the strongest card we've had in a very long time? We have a chance to top it because we got a bonus round now that we got to get to. We could actually top what we just did. Is that even a wrestling match? No, that's just a fight. There's no wrestling rules. There's no boxing gloves. It's just a fucking fight between those two guys. But tell me that doesn't look like Mike Tyson just finished 3 hours of SmackDown. Oh boy. Oh boy. We are booking a Tony Khan dream match. Tony Khan's dream match. Yes, indeed. All right, so this is going to be a dream match per Tony Khan. Going to book a tag team match. Tony is dreaming about Edge and Randy Orton as a tag team. I have to specify. He's dreaming about them as a tag team. I don't know what else he's dreaming about, nor do I want to know. Oh, wow. Edge and Randy Orton against Hollywood Hulk Hogan and The Worm. Dennis Rodman. Man, look at these big matches that we're booking here. We're going to sell a lot of tickets. We're going to sell a boatload of tickets. This is great. He has half of that team. Well, Dennis Rodman has made a couple of appearances in AEW. That is true. All right. Our women's match is going to be loser leaves town. So the loser of this next match is gone from the territory. That's the rule. There's a lot riding on this match. This is a career-ending match, and it's going to include Jamie Hayter. She looked very different back then. Jamie Hayter against Stephanie Vicaire. We're just rolling on here. We're on the verge of ending this week with back-to-back sweeps. Can we do it? Can we pull it off? Is it possible? Can we make it a reality? What a match that would be, though, by the way. Jamie Hayter and Stephanie Vicaire. Oh, we're going inside Big Blue, everybody. The Big Blue steel cage. My favorite cage. Love the Big Blue cage. I grew up on the Big Blue cage. Hell yeah. This is a cage match. Participant number 1. Kevin Owens, who is greatly missed on these Friday night shows. Holy shit, do we miss Kevin Owens or what? Boy, we could use him right about now. Kevin Owens inside Big Blue against the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. We're resuming this feud, aren't we? We already saw this a couple of times. We're running it back. He's got unfinished business with this man. He got killed in a ladder match last time. And now he wants his revenge on Cody inside Big Blue. And we got ourselves a double sweep. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. That's what I want to give back to you guys. Only this time, if you're going to run the match, then he's got to win the WWE Championship. Like, that's it. You can't have Cody go in there and just beat him. And EJ, looks like EJ is going to get the last word here with a $4.99. Is the story true that Kota Ibushi high-fived Vince McMahon and had no idea who he was? If so, I love him even more. He's the weirdest human who has ever lived. That story is 100% true. I don't remember what event or what pay-per-view he was, I think, backstage for, but yeah, I think he high-fived him and had no idea who he was. I'm sure Vince probably also had no idea who he was. He is a very, very weird human being. But that's what makes him so special. He's also absolutely out of his mind. I don't know who's crazier, Kota Ibushi or Darby Allin. But can you imagine that tag team? Cruiserweight. Oh, yeah, maybe it was the Cruiserweight. That's right. I keep forgetting that they had Ibushi in for the Cruiserweight Classic. Yeah, but why would Vince have been there, though? Yeah, maybe Vince was there for some of those. Because they did all that at Full Sail. Yeah, what a wonderful image that is. Ibushi all happy, like, hey, it's this old white guy. I don't know who you are, but high five. Turns out to be the owner of the company. Well, I mentioned that we have announced a very what's the word I'm looking for here? Very exciting match for House of Glory's return to New York City next Friday, which is why there will be no SmackDown review next Friday. I know, I'm devastated. But for 1 week, I will not be here. I will be on the call for HOG at the NYC Arena. And we have our guest for the night, the reigning, defending AEW TNT champion, Kevin Knight, who is coming in for a special one-on-one bout with Amazing Red. That is going to be a lot of fun to call and a lot of fun to watch. And I encourage you all to do so. If you can't be there live, we'll be streaming on Triller TV Plus. So we have that match. Shotzi is going to be in action against Lena Cross, one half of the AEW Women's Tag Team Champions. The HOG Tag Team Champions, Matt and Jeff Hardy, are back. They'll be on the show as well. Zilla Fatu. We haven't announced all the matches yet. That'll come together this week. But yeah, that Kevin Knight Amazing Red match alone is going to be worth the price of admission. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I know that I think all the seats are gone unless we add a fifth row. I should find out if we're adding a fifth row. But all 4 rows of seats are sold out. Stage seating is sold out. Just general admission right now. So you can be there. But again, you could also stream it live on Triller if you wish. But that's next Friday. So that's where I'll be. So the way things are shaping up, we have a brand new podcast on Sunday. That'll be episode 963 of the Sound Off. And I guess if I have any top line thoughts about the Ronda Gina stuff tomorrow night, I'll just talk about it at the top of the Sound Off on Sunday. I can't imagine spending too much time on it, but that's where, if I have thoughts, that's where you'll be able to find my thoughts. Monday, we have the Raw Post Show. Tuesday will be a brand new installment of the Uncrowned Wrestling Show. And then Tuesday Night Titans is back in its normal slot. We had a rare Thursday show last night. So we'll have 2 shows on Tuesday. Wednesday is the Dynamite post show. That will be the final Dynamite before Double or Nothing. And then after that, the next time I'm live with you, after Wednesday, will be Sunday for Double or Nothing, which I am planning on being live for. I will not be here for SmackDown, and probably will not be here for Saturday night's main event. So that is the way things are shaping up for the upcoming week. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on a Friday and making this show a little more tolerable, because SmackDown really does suck right now, unfortunately. And then, Sunday, Sound Off. I'll be working on my notes tomorrow, getting everything together, and then back with you live on Monday. That's what I got for you. So again, be well, stay safe. Thank you for all of the support. James and everybody. All of you guys. You guys are awesome. And we'll see you back here real soon for more Sound Off 2000. Until then, take care, guys.